agenda really to avoid any undue criticism of our county attorney. I did speak to him about it prior to the meeting, so he was aware that the conversation would be coming. I want to say I appreciate Roy's service to the board. My feelings are in no way a personal reflection of Mr. Andrews at all. However, with the complexity of issues that our county is going to be facing in the future, I think now is the time that we make a change for the county's benefit in our legal representation. I would have liked to have handled this privately, obviously, and not talked about it publicly. But with the Sunshine Law, as Dan mentioned before, on other things, it precludes that. I don't want to air a laundry list of issues or anything, but frankly, this year I have lost some confidence in our current level of representation. I'd like to hear if I have the support of any of my fellow board members to make the change and direct our administrator to work with a firm such as Neighbors and Giblin for interim legal advice and to come back with us in January with steps to secure a permanent solution for new legal representation.
I would like to say that I agree with Commissioner Parker on this. I know it's a tough decision, and so I would say that I agree with him. Thank you.
I'll chime in because I've talked to the county administrator. I know Roy is very, very adept, or whatever the fancy word is. He knows his stuff. Okay, there's no doubt about that. He is outstanding. Anytime I've asked him a question, he's pretty much rolled it off the cuff. Don't have to go dig out a book or look something up on a computer. I don't know if replacing him or looking for another attorney is proper at this time. I would like to see more positive action, you know, if Roy stays on board from him as far as his input. The only thing I have for an example is this past quasi-judicial function that we had. I felt like there should have been more aggressiveness, maybe, since we were out here faced with an attorney and none of us are attorneys. Your action and interaction, I guess, with another attorney as far as input to the board. Basically, I look at it that this board breached a contract that we had with Waste Pro, and my feeling at the time is that you should have said, we've got a contract, it stands up, and my advice to this board is to uphold that contract. And I guess when I counted to 3, I threw in the towel myself. But I appreciate what you're doing, or what you've done for the board, the advice you've given me. I felt like there could have been more of a, more bulldog, I guess, approach from you to what we were facing out here as far as action that we were looking at. Because really, I don't know how to respond when it's called a quasi-judicial. Do I act as an attorney? Do I counter everything, or do I rely on you to do that? So I was kind of, I spoke my piece, I think, as much as I felt like I could without going overboard. And I'd just like to see more aggressiveness out of our attorney, like we were getting from that attorney. He even said they're manufacturing a defense. And to me, that opened the door for, well, we're manufacturing the facts or something to that degree. So I don't know how I would vote on something like that right now, but it felt like since it was brought up, I'd go ahead and share that.
I'm not prepared to act on this. I need more information before I vote to terminate. I think, you know, our new meeting schedule will afford that. This is hitting me cold off the snap, I'll admit it, and I don't make snap decisions, so I'm going to need more discussion with the county administrator before I'm prepared to act on this here today at this time. So I'm not closing the door on action, I'm just stating publicly I need more information and details before I'm ready to take action. Commissioner Calkins.
Yeah, I would like to say these are the decisions as a board that are very hard. They're very tough decisions. My personal interactions with Roy have been great. You know, I think that he's a good person in our community, an outstanding attorney. As far as the last meeting, you know, I was kind of disappointed in the interactions. I saw other attorneys, you know, argue very strongly. I want Santa Rosa County to be the best. $178,000 a year salary, and that's a lot of money that we're paying for a county attorney. And it's always hard to let go of anybody. It's tough. But I believe that you know, I got elected to make changes and to speak for the people. And these are the tough decisions that were placed on us. And so I would agree with making this action today, and thank you.
Well, Mr. Chairman, I am certainly somewhat shocked about this today, but, you know, I will say that, and concur with my fellow commissioners, that the quasi-judicial hearing was certainly an awkward position to be put in, and while I believe we were all given an opportunity to ask questions, I don't think that, and I can't speak for anybody else, but for myself, I'm not sure that we completely understood the position we were being put in, and I do feel like it was a bit of a surprise. I don't know quite why we were put in that position at that time, why we couldn't have done a quasi-judicial hearing on that appeal at something at a point different from a special meeting that was asked for, so the commissioners would have an opportunity to discuss the Waste Pro contract and the situation at hand, the overall situation. And I think possibly, I think the intent was maybe to try to work out some solutions of some sort. I do feel like we were kind of backed into a corner where we had to make a choice, and we made the choice we did. But Roy, I genuinely like you as a person for sure, and there's no doubt you're a good attorney. I certainly felt like there's certainly a certain lack of confidence in what's being told to me, and when I ask a question, and maybe it's like Commissioner Cole said when he said, you know, just kind of put your fist down and say this is what it is. I guess when I look to an attorney, I know if I'm paying for an attorney out of my own pocket, I want some conviction. When I ask a question, I want them to look at me and definitively tell me exactly, you know, an answer in their professional opinion. And I can't say that I certainly haven't had that same feeling.
Again, I'll say, just like I talked with Roy, this is a gut-wrenching decision. One of the main reasons I've kind of made sure I avoided people the last few days to reflect on this and pray on it. It is tough. And now I realize why when our county administrator had to make some decisions and personnel changes, why, quite frankly, you know, the man had watery eyes, because it is tough, and it is not a personal thing. I love Roy to death, but you know, again, from talking with commissioners in other counties and how they do it, and some of them even utilize firms where they have a team of legal advice, and quite frankly, that does away with, there are no, you know, meetings where you don't have legal advice present or whatever. This is tough. But for the same reason I said I didn't put it on a published agenda, it was not to be a whipping post or any public spectacle melee, is the same reason I will make a motion today instead of delaying it, just because I don't want it to become a political circus. This is not a negative at all towards our county attorney. As I stated, this is for me, again, to make that decision of, do I think what is best for the complex issues, one of them possibly being litigation that this county is going to be facing this coming calendar year. So with that, I will make my request in form of a motion that I will ask for a second for, that we direct our staff to terminate the current contract with our county attorney, and we direct our county administrator to work with either Neighbors in Giblin or one of these other law firms that we have worked with in the past. In the interim, for any legal advice or questions and come back to us at the beginning of January for steps for our board to move forward.
Question before we move forward. Do we know what the settlement is and the cost? We've gone through this with Public Works.
We do,
leave
and that's what I passed out to you on page 2.
Yeah, I see that, but it just says
The amount would be roughly, it could be off a couple pennies or dollars, but about $73,285 per term 6 of the termination contract there, where it says contract can be terminated by either party without cause, and he's due to 150 days of compensation if that termination takes place.
and then the leave and unpaid sick leave and other.
You could definitely ask Roy, because I'm not the attorney, but the way I interpret it is it says that's the lump sum payment, and the leave and all gets into with the resignation.
No, the leave, in one attorney's opinion, I'm entitled to the accrued leave like any other any other employee if I'm terminated.
I think, quite frankly, we would be forced to defer to probably Don's attorney. He reviewed the last contract for Stephen Furman, give us another opinion, or that. I sure can't speak on it. This is just a layman reading the 4-page contract.
Mr. Chairman, I'll speak up on that. It'd be the
Please.
same situation as with Mr. Furman, the way I understand the contract's written, if it's the same contract as Mr. Furman.
Okay.
Mr.
Mr.
Chairman,
Cole.
I'm not going to support this at this time. I think the county attorney's heard the board loud and clear as far as our possibly expectations in the future. And as far as a more, and as Commissioner Wright said, I forget the word you used, but viable, a stronger sense of this is what we need to do type thing.
Conviction.
Conviction, there you go. And, that's where I'd be now. I mean, a stern warning, we expect a conviction that's due us as an attorney, as representation for this county. And, that's where I would stand right now. And again, as Commissioner Peach said, this kind of came just boom, right down the table a few minutes ago. It's, wasn't something I expected to get into today, so.
Commissioner Cochran?
Mr. Chairman, I will second Commissioner Parker's motion.
Okay, I'm going to support Commissioner Cole. I need more data on this. Other options that are out there. I'd like to see full dollar amounts and past performance appraisals and things. So I appreciate Commissioner Parker and Commissioner Calkins bringing the motion up, but until I have more data and more time to dig into this deeply, these are big decisions that I don't like to make in a matter of minutes. So I'm going to support Commissioner Cole, but I will be diving in for more data. So discussion?
Yeah, so are we able to get, for discussion, we could come back at a later date after looking at the performance appraisals? Is that?
I want to point out, per the contract, there is no performance appraisals. We don't do that. One thing I do hope, whether we change representation or not, is as a board, if you read that, it's 4 pages, there's no performance appraisal. I've been on the board 4 years, Peach 2 years, Mr. Cole 18 or 19 years. You've never filled out something saying, does the attorney do good or bad? I've never filled out a leave slip as a chairman. This contract is a lot looser even than our county administrator, so I guess I'm just pointing that out for clarification. I don't know what you expect to find. Clearly, I can't talk with you privately about some of my issues, but it just goes to, you use the word conviction, you use the word stern, and I use the word confidence. Especially when we're dealing with what we've all been told, possible millions of dollars worth of litigation, I have to have confidence. I have to have total confidence, and that's why I'm not there. It's not a fun thing, but that's why I made my motion today, and so.
Well, I guess that begs another question, or sheds light on an issue that maybe we have it as an organization, as a county. If we don't have benchmarks and some type of performance appraisal process and expectations and a way for us to hold any county employee accountable, that certainly sheds light on some things we need to make sure we do in the future. I don't think we should have any employee, I certainly in my own personal business, as a private enterprise, would never not have some form of feedback, both from employer to employee and vice versa. I don't think anyone should be exempt from that at the county level. I think as county commissioners, we are elected, and we certainly have our own performance appraisal process in the press every day, and certainly at the voting booth. So that does concern me that we've never had a performance appraisal on an employee.
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Cole.
Up until the time I brought it up, there was also not a performance evaluation done on the county administrator, and I initiated the first one of those when Hunter Walker was still here, so yeah, you're right, things need tightened up. So.
I would just add, Mr. Chairman, to Commissioner Wright's point, we do have a performance appraisal system for all of our employees. There are 2 appointed employees that report directly to the board, myself and the county attorney. We do have a valid performance appraisal system. All of our employees are evaluated, and as Commissioner Cole highlighted, the county administrator is evaluated by the board.
Yeah, let me clarify. I was not insinuating that we did not have that for county staff. Just want to make sure it was heard out. Yes, without a doubt. I understand the process is there for all other county employees. Thank you.
You got a motion and a second?
Yeah, we have a motion and a second. Commissioner Parker has moved to terminate the county attorney's employment with the county, seconded by Commissioner Calkins. I'm going to call for a roll call vote, so if you're in favor.
Mr. Chairman, just one point of clarification in the motion. I would ask for a date certain. To carry out the contract, I'm just asking for that to be clarified.
Commissioner Parker, you wish to amend your motion?
I do, and I say I do. I'll clarify. This is I'm not trying to go A to Z, I think is actually the term that Roy said, and torpedo the ship. I understand. I have no doubt in Roy's ethics or professionalism with helping that transition go over smoothly. I don't think I had a fellow colleague that's not on this board say, be slow to hire. And I think looking at the new thing, whether it be like our neighboring county, Okaloosa, that uses a firm team, or we do an interview with a county attorney, or maybe we realize we need a county and an assistant attorney, or however that is, I think there'll be some interim time, but to have a transition period that would allow our county administrator, if it would help you with confidence, I guess is sort of a question on navigating that. If 30 days rather than an immediate time frame you feel that would be appropriate, or at the end of the day, we've got to pay for this regardless. I mean, quite frankly, it's like you just talked about. Roy could take leave next week, even if it's 30 days. We don't approve Roy's leave. That's a lack in the thing. So that was why when I made my motion, I had that reason for saying immediately, and then would directed Dan that if you have any consultations, you could reach out to Neighbors in Giblin, kind of like, when we asked for third-party opinion.
I missed if immediately is in the motion, it's clear, sir.
All right. All right, I'll answer the chairman's thing by a vote of aye.
Commissioner Cole.
Aye.
Commissioner Calkins.
Aye.
Commissioner Wright.
Aye.
As chairman, I vote nay. I don't have enough information to make such a swift decision, nor knowing what position this puts the county in for legal advice. But hearing the votes,